Okay. It's
So I'm delighted to introduce my colleague, Jill Barnett Kaufman, and we're going to interview her about what she does and why she does it. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Anju. How are you?
I'm great. So Jill, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I am a therapist, a divorce coach, and a co-parenting expert. And I have worked with clients for over 20 years on everything related to divorce, parenting, and marriage. I also do couples counseling. But in 2012, I went through my own divorce and I realized how difficult it was. And there's not that much support out there. So I decided to really focus my practice on divorce. And so I've been working exclusively with people going through divorce, thinking about divorce, co-parenting, helping parents work together constructively for the good of their children.
Well, it seems it's almost a prerequisite to go through your own divorce to be in this field, right?
It helps. I think it helps a lot because you really understand how difficult it is. It's very hard when you don't go through. I mean, I think if you work in the field, you probably see how hard it is, but it's a lot different when you experience it yourself.
When you've walked a mile in their moccasins, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So what differentiates you from others who work in this field?
So I think all my experience, I'm also a trained divorce mediator. I was in banking for a while. So I have like financial background, I have mediation background, I was a parent educator for like a bunch of years. I taught parenting classes. So like I have all of this experience that I can help clients understand, how to communicate better, why it's important for the children to get along, and how to negotiate really difficult situations. So, I just want to mention I was doing the same thing with clients over and over again. So I put it together in a book, and it's like a workbook book called I'm Getting Divorced Now What? And it really goes through what emotionally you go through in divorce and how to heal, how to build your confidence back, how to avoid mistakes. And so like you really there are things that you can do to make this easier. And what I really want to do is make it easier, obviously for the parents, but with keeping in mind that children are so impacted and they can come out great if you really know how to deal with children through divorce.
So are you meeting with the entire family or just the couple in terms of the work that you do?
Most of the time it's just the parents. I do sometimes bring in family members if that's appropriate, but it's amazing how much you can do as parents if you know what to do, know how to communicate, know how to decrease conflict. So it's very important that the parents understand all of that and learn how to handle all different kinds of situations that come up depending upon ages of children and the different situations.
There was a number one tip you were going to give a couple who was in the throes of divorce. What would it be?
It would be to put the emotion aside and work together like you are colleagues or coworkers, because that's what you are. You're no longer a married couple. And so all the emotional stuff, all the past, it doesn't really matter anymore. And really you have to think about your children and moving forward. And, I do sometimes work with couples who are divorcing, if they need to talk about some past in a really safe environment where they can heal. So if that's necessary, I will do that, but that's a finite thing. And then they move on and talk about the present and the future.
Very different from therapy where it's past focused. This is about building a future. So why do you do this work? What is it about this that you've chosen to specialize in divorce?
I just know like what I felt like in 2012, 2013, and I was devastated, and I was a therapist, and I was, educated, and I thought like I could handle this, when I was going through it, and I couldn't. It really was difficult. I mean, I did, obviously I got through it, but it could have been so much easier. If I had support, if I knew other people who were going through it. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention. I run a Facebook group. There's over 2,000 people in it. It's called Separation and Divorce Support Community, and it's free. And I go live in there every week, and people post in there, and they're really supportive of each other. And I get comments from there saying, this is so helpful. It's so nice to know that I'm not alone. And that's why I do this, because I know that just getting support is so helpful.
So, with your clients, what's the most common thing that most people struggle with as they're going through a divorce?
I think it's fear. Um, they're scared of what the future is going to be like, whether it's financially, emotionally. There's so many things changing that they really are scared of what the future will bring. So that's really uh, how, as a therapist or a divorce coach, you can help people, because you can kind of map out what it's going to look like, and you can be less afraid of the future and more excited and hopeful and optimistic.
So, when clients are working with you, is there a point where they terminate the services? Is there usually an end point to this? Because this isn't therapy, this is helping people go through the divorce process.
Yeah, I mean, obviously once the divorce is finalized, that's one place. Some people don't need anything after that, but other people need, still some work on getting to a place where they can move forward and developing things in their lives. So it really depends. It's different for every client.
So, you must be involved with some professional associations. What are the, in your career, what are the associations that are most important to you in terms of working with other colleagues or peers?
So there's not many coaching organizations that are appropriate. I'm involved in the National Association of Social Workers, and um, I've been involved in a variety of divorce companies, like Divorcify and Split FYI and Decomply. There's like a bunch of divorce companies out there that really work to have access and connections for people who are going through divorce. And I run a support a group coaching program called Thriving Through Divorce, and that really helps people go from where they're starting to healing and moving forward. And so that, I mean, it is kind of an organization that I developed through all the work that I've done.
You mentioned a great resource, your book. Is that something that is available to the public?
Yes, you can get it on my website. It's at divorcecoachjill.com. All my resources, there's some free, there's some paid resources on my website. And I also have a book on Kindle that people can get. But that book is not available on Kindle. So.
In terms of geography, where is your client base? Is it just New Jersey or is it nationwide?
So if I'm doing counseling, I'm only licensed in New Jersey. But if I'm doing coaching, I can do it anywhere in, most of my clients are in the US and Canada. I have some in the UK, some Australia, but mostly the US and Canada.
Okay, so you have a really broad range of clients and
Yes.
even different time zones you have to work in, right? That sounds challenging. So in our last minute or so, is there anything that I haven't asked about you that I should, that's important for a potential client or a colleague to know about Jill Barnett Kaufman?
Yeah, so I guess there's no reason to go through this alone. And people, when they first start with their divorce, they call an attorney, or they don't know really where to start other than calling an attorney. And it's so important that you get help. Attorneys are very important to the divorce process, but you need to get education on what the process is and how to move forward. And that's really how I help people, is giving them an idea of what the process is, what their choices are, how can they can, make the best choices for themselves and their children. And so you don't have to go through it alone. That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Jill. It's really been a pleasure learning about your services.
Thank you, Anju.